Hello everyone, welcome to the last section of the course, Security. In this section we'll secure the services. Now we move on to the first video of this section, that is securing the web. HTTP is vulnerable to a range of attacks that might result in leaking the payload. Thus, it was necessary to add some form of security between parties using HTTP to communicate. RFC 2818 proposed HTTPS, HTTP Secure, as a version of HTTP that uses a secure streaming protocol underneath. Initially, this was Secure Socket Layer, SSL, and later evolved into Transport Layer Security, TLS. The basic scheme of things goes like this. The client and server establish a TCP connection. The client and server agree upon a cipher and hash function to use throughout the connection. For this, the client sends a list of ciphers and hash functions. The server picks one from that list and lets the client know. The server sends a certificate to the client. The client validates this against a list of certificate authorities that it has locally. Both agree on a session key used to encrypt data during the connection. At this point, a regular HTTP session can begin. We'll learn about OpenSSL. The OpenSSL library and CLI is a complete set of tools to work with SSL and TLS objects. It's an open source project and is widely used by companies all around. As one would expect, Rust has bindings for using as a library in Rust projects. In this discussion, we'll take a closer look at the certificates we saw in the last section. We'll use Rust-OpenSSL to generate and inspect a certificate from scratch. Here is the cargo.toml file. Also, for this example, we'll use the master branch of the repository, since we need a few features that are not released yet. For that, we'll need to specify the repository link, as shown previously. Here's the main file. Here we take in a file name as a command line parameter to write the certificate to. Certificate creation is offloaded to a helper function called createCert that returns either a tuple, having generated the certificate and private key, or a list of errors as a result. The first step is to initialize a certificate builder object that we will add on to, and finally build our certificate. We use the set_version method to set the version to 3, numerically set to 2. Now we need to generate a serial number and set it. We generate that by randomly sampling 160 bits, 20 octets of 8 bits each. We use the setSerialNumber method to get the serial number. The next step is to generate a name using NameBuilder. The append_entry_by_text method is then used to add a country name and common name to our NameBuilder. We use set_issuer_name to append the name object to the certificate. We set the expiry date to 365 days after the current date, and use set_not_before and set_not_after to set those two. The subject name is set to the same name object using set_subject_name. Finally, we need to generate a private key, which we generate using the RSA module, and we set the private key on the certificate. Now, the certificate needs to be signed with the private key using SHA-512. Once done, we can use the build method to create the certificate. At the end of the function, we return the certificate and private key to the caller. In our main function, we call the helper function. For our example, we'll ignore the key, but a real application does need to save it for verification later. We convert the certificate object to PEM encoding and write it to a file on the disk. The next step is reading the subject name programmatically. For this, we use the subject_name method on the certificate object and print it out as a string. This should match the subject name we set earlier. This is how we can run this using Cargo. Note that this creates a certificate named bar.crt in the current directory.